In West Cumbria, we have a tough challenge to meet. For over 100 years, Ennerdale Water has been the main supply to all the towns in West Cumbria, including Cockermouth, Whitehaven and Egremont. But now Ennerdale has reached the limits of its capacity. But why are Ennerdale and the River Ian so important? In typical weather conditions, there is enough water for both the natural environment and the public water supply. But during longer dry spells, United Utilities has to strike a balance between taking just the right amount of water from Ennerdale to supply our customers, whilst leaving enough water going downstream to keep the River Ian flowing. Ennerdale and the Ian are highly sensitive water habitats. They are home to England's largest and healthiest remaining population of a rare animal species, freshwater mussels. This endangered animal is protected by a European-wide law, and to comply with it, the Environment Agency has to remove United Utilities' permissions to take water from Ennerdale by 2022. So the challenge is this: we need to stop taking water from Ennerdale altogether and build a more sustainable water supply for everyone in West Cumbria. So how will we do this? You and your team have been chosen to help construct a 100-kilometre pipeline which will run from the Thirlmere Reservoir to the water network in West Cumbria via a brand new water treatment works. Thirlmere is one of the Northwest's main sources of water, and this new pipeline will enable us to continue to support our domestic and business customers in West Cumbria well into the future. The West Cumbria Water Supplies Project will take us through some of England's most pristine and treasured countryside. Our ecologists have surveyed the pipe route and identified all the local wildlife that we need to protect from the works. From Atlantic salmon to zebra spiders, the region is home to many rare and protected plants and animals, including mammals, insects, amphibians, reptiles, mollusks, fish, important trees and plants, and over 50 species of bird. Each of them has their own interest groups looking out for their well-being, and none more so than the freshwater mussel. But why are these particular animals so important? Freshwater mussels are known as an indicator species, which means that their presence in a river tells us the water is usually in pristine condition. But over the last 100 years, human activity has caused the quality to worsen, and the mussels are now at risk of extinction in England, which is why the European Parliament has passed laws to protect them. Since this project is partly about helping them, it's useful to know a bit about them. For example, did you know that freshwater mussels are the UK's longest lived animal and can live for over 100 years? They feed by filtering the water. One animal can clean up to 50 litres of water every day. Like a living water treatment works, they actually improve the quality of the water they live in, and so they play a key role in the life cycle of several fish, such as sea trout, brown trout and Atlantic salmon. So by protecting them, we help protect the entire river ecosystem. In order to get permission to proceed with this project, we have had to consult extensively with many stakeholders. Throughout 2015, United Utilities held 3 phases of public exhibitions, meeting with many concerned residents, land users and businesses from the local communities. Listening closely to their feedback, we have taken immense care to adjust the West Cumbria supplies route to avoid as much environmental risk as possible. Our responsibility now is to meet the expectations we've set and keep the promises we've made. This is a highly visible project in a very sensitive environment with a lot of stakeholder attention. Unfortunately, some environmental incidents during other recent United Utilities projects in West Cumbria have harmed our reputation. In one instance, the poor planning of a project resulted in heavy damage to trees and fields. In another, silt from the dewatering of an excavation got into a river via a hidden drain on the working easement. And in yet another, fines from new installed pipe bedding was washed out into a river while reconnecting the land drains. Incidents like these damage our working relationships with our stakeholders and can lead to prosecution and huge fines. Enforcement of environmental laws have become much stricter in recent years. We can now be fined hundreds of thousands of pounds for a single incident, with the possibility for these to be into the millions if something major happened. To help restore our reputation, we must demonstrate that we've learnt from past mistakes, and we need your help to do this. The most important lesson learned from the previous incidents is that the highest risk from pipe laying projects is from mud, silt, fuels, cement, or other harmful substances escaping into watercourses and causing pollution. This is usually caused when these liquids run across the surface of the working area, which is easily spotted. Far worse is when they go into land drains and, without us knowing, is then discharged to an out-of-sight watercourse. To reduce this risk, we will be restricting construction on stripped earth to the drier seasons, from late spring to early autumn, in order to avoid working on muddy ground. But as we all know in Cumbria, rain is possible at any time of the year, so some risk will always be there on this project. Your team will develop an Environmental Control Plan, or ECP, which contains method statements that ensure work activities are carefully planned to minimise risks. Before any work can begin, all site staff will be given a full induction by the site agent, summarising health, safety and key environmental information, and it's really important that you pay close attention to this. Your environmental advisors will also explain the detail of any environmental risks that are important to your particular working area in a series of toolbox talks. These talks will explain, amongst other topics, the importance of all the different types of fencing you will see along the project, such as hedgerow and tree root protection zone fencing, temporary amphibian or newt fencing, silt fencing, exclusion fencing around invasive weeds. The positioning of each type of fencing has been carefully planned and is in place for good reason, to contain the project and protect important natural features. If you see any fencing that looks like it has been incorrectly moved, damaged, or you think it is in need of maintenance, please report it to your site agent or advisor so it can continue to do its job. We are depending on you to be vigilant. Always be mindful of the possible runoff and drainage routes from your work area. Keep an eye on any ditches, streams or rivers, and the discharges from any pumping activities for signs of discoloration. If you ever see any risk of water pollution occurring, please stop what you are doing. Do what you can to contain the runoff and report it to your site agent or environmental advisor immediately. You know your workplace better than anyone, so if anything looks wrong, you are best placed to ensure it's put right. For the site managers and engineers, always consult your environmental advisor before making any changes to the project design and your ECP. Otherwise, it's critically important that we work in accordance with the approved plans and construction methods, since all our permissions and stakeholder commitments are based on them. We strongly encourage a culture of honesty, openness, trust and integrity. This project is being watched closely, so it's important not to disregard when things go wrong, no matter how big or small the incident. The consequences of being caught will be far more serious than self-reporting it. If you see something going wrong, your first priority is to try and stop it from causing any more harm. Then report it straight away to your manager or advisor, so any damage can be limited and put right as quickly as possible. Try to keep in mind the main environmental objectives for this project. Firstly, we must ensure we protect our natural environment, causing absolutely no harm whilst we build. Secondly, this is a highly visible project, and a lot of concerned stakeholders and customers are watching what we do. We need your help to keep the promises we've made. Thirdly, any damaged fencing and environmental incidents must always be reported to your site agent and environmental advisor. The West Cumbria Supplies project is one of the biggest in recent history. You're part of a project that will have a long-lasting legacy for the whole of Cumbria, so make it a good one by working with the utmost respect for our environment. Enjoy your time working in one of England's most beautiful landscapes, and let's all help keep it that way.